I want to share with you the reason why I wrote The Perfect 10. And it's a really simple reason, but I think it's so important. And it really started in teachers' lounges and even sometimes in my classroom, where at the beginning of every year, teachers would come up to me and say, "Oh, you have so-and-so on your roster? Oh, that's a tough kid. That's a bad kid. That kid's going to give you a lot of trouble. This kid's going to be in the office every day. This one's going to be in trouble. This one's going to be suspended. This one's going to drop out." And those are just some examples of the real phrases that I heard every beginning of the school year before I even had a chance to meet some of these students. And when I would meet them, they blew me away. They were so amazing. They were some of the best students I've ever seen in my life. And I started reflecting on, what is this conversation I'm having with teachers here versus what I'm actually seeing in the classroom? And I'm seeing these incredibly talented students being stifled by what everyone else's idea of the perfect student is, right? So these teachers would come in and say, well, a student needs to do this, that, and they need to look this way and act this way and behave this way. And this is what I expect to see in my classroom. And as their definition of the perfect student solidified, it left out so many of these talented and capable students. So I would have these students in my classroom who were getting A's in everything I did and producing really unique and incredible assignments, and then they're failing every other subject. I mean, what's the problem here? What's different? And I started questioning myself. Am I a bad teacher? Am I looking at things the wrong way? But I came to find out there's nothing wrong with these students. But the teachers that they had did not play to their strengths. They didn't work to try to understand what these students were trying to accomplish, what they were good at, what they were interested in. The expectations didn't match the reality that my students were living in. And because of that, we had this clash where, they weren't performing the way that you would expect them to. And they weren't happy with it. They didn't want to do poorly in school, right? But the teachers were putting them in a position, and I shouldn't just blame the teachers, right? The administration, the security staff, the front office, right? People would place expectations on these students based on what the adult's perception of that student should be, right? And that's the issue I was noticing year in and year out. And it would be so clear at the beginning of every year that these students were being ignored, they were being left out, and people were missing out on all of the goodness that they had to offer, and all the growth and all the potential that they still had. So I realized that me just being another teacher and being a father, right, I'm still that adult voice. And I knew that my voice alone is not what's going to help people understand that these kids need to be looked at for their strengths and for their potential and for the good that they have in themselves. So I wanted to pull stories from students who have actually gone through this, who have dealt with teachers and administrators and other adults in their life and even their peers, looking at them in an unfair light. And I wanted them to be able to tell their story and show everybody how capable they really are and what so many missed out on throughout their school experience. So I'm really excited to share these stories with you. These 10 students of mine, they are phenomenal human beings and they are amazing students. And I promise you, when you're done reading this book, you'll believe me that these 10 are the perfect students.
I'm Dr. Anala Lightman.
And I'm Dr. Kevin Lightman. We're thankful for your support of TLC Educate.
Like and subscribe for more enlightening and empowering content.
Don't forget to share with your friends.